beautiful world of women. You're welcome to Women in Politics on CORETV News. And our guest on today's edition of the program means different things to different people. But on the program today, we choose to introduce her this way. She used to be a former Minister of Women Affairs. She co-founded Women Foundation of Nigeria. I'm sure some people are beginning to guess. Well, let me help you a little more. She was an aspirant in Anambra State, gubernatorial election. Well, I'm talking about no other person than Josephine Anenih. We came to a residential apartment here in Abuja and just to ask her how far she's fared in politics and her own opinion on national issues. You're welcome on this edition of Women in Politics, and I'm your host, Ebulomo Adekunle is my name. It's good to have you join us at Women in Politics.
You're welcome, thank you.
And we know that you're a PDP stalwart, so we're going to be starting on the party level. PDP is acclaimed the biggest party in West Africa. What are the chances, what are the things put in place to make sure that women emerge at the primaries?
That's a tall order, and that's what we've been working at since the inception of PDP. You know that we have to go back to history and start from, the beginning. In the beginning, politics was seen as a male turf and male, a male business. Women were not really politicians. And even in the days before independence, we had a few women, very few women that you can count on your fingertips, going around with the politicians. People like Margaret Ekpo, Hajia Gambo Sawaba, Mrs. Mokelu, Oyibo Dinamadu. Just few women you can count on the tips of your finger. And the majority of the women, people like Laila Dogoyaro during the MPNDs, the women that, came with them were mainly cheerleaders. So from 1998, when we came on board, we came with a paradigm shift. We came with a new vision. We came and said to the political party, here we are, women, but we don't want to be on the fringe. We don't want to be a women's wing, because when you're on the wings, you that it's in the arts, you understand what it is. You are not on the main stage. You're behind the curtains. That's what it means. You're on the wings. And so you're not, principal actors. So we said we wanted to be principal actors. So our vision then and now was to see women properly mainstreamed into the political parties as bona fide politicians, as full-fledged politicians, as women politicians, not politicians women. So I started making the distinction between women politicians and politicians women. But
one would even question the attitude of women to fellow women, because we know that there are many women empowerment programs around. For example, you co-founded the Women Foundation of Nigeria, and you're a member of the Gender Electoral and Constitutional Memoranda Committee. Yes, there seems to be this still little participation of women in politics. And you were former aspirant, gubernatorial aspirant in Anambra State, and you did not emerge.
That was a great blow.
And someone like Sarah Jibril,
yes,
even despite the fact that we saw many women dance behind her in support of her, she almost, let's say, she voted for herself.
Yes.
So the question is, what about the votes of those other women who were cheering her? Then where were the other women who were supposed to support fellow women? Now,
that's where that's where the problem is. In our primaries, we use delegates. It's a delegate election, so like a collegiate system of electing candidates, voting for aspirants who will eventually become candidates to carry the flag of the party. And it is by delegate election. So how do we get the delegates? We start from the wards. We said, you know, we elect 3 people, 3 delegates from the ward who will now go to elect in the states, who will now do the elections, who will now be the delegates for the elections. Up until when I contested last year, you know, it was just, there was no concrete provision to have women delegates. But, you know, a few years back, the women in the party, we, especially because I was in the Constitution Review Committee, and we pushed for and got the party to accept that out of those 3 delegates, 1 of them must be a woman. So we have, would I say, 1/3 of the delegates voting are women, and they will vote for women at the primaries. So that is one story for the state level. Then at the national level, the people who come to vote, every local government would elect 1 delegate. 1. So it can be a man and it can be a woman. And in most local governments, it is always a man, because it is a national delegate. So for them, it is a big honor, it's a big position. And you find that it is the stalwarts, it is the big men, it is the money bags, it is those who are established as the local government chieftains that would easily get that election, that position to come to the national. So you come to the national. I want to talk about the Sarah Jibril one, where we had a woman contesting for presidency and got only 1 vote. Now, the question to ask is, how many women? We had like, maybe, let me not misquote. We had a few thousand delegates. How many of them were women? Just very few of us. I was a minister then, so I had a vote. And it was a presidential election for the party. We were going to face other political parties. And we had these aspirants. We had several of them. And we needed to be sure
of the popularity of that candidate.
Yes, we needed to be sure that whoever you gave your vote would win that convention, will get our party's ticket. If we said out of sentiments, for instance, and all the women who were there, who were probably not more than 20 women, who were voting delegates, gave all our votes, or 50 of us, gave all our votes to Sarah Jibril. Sarah Jibril would not have won that election, because it would have just been us out of 2,000. Even if it's 100 out of 2,000 delegates, there was no way she would have won. So it was strategic for us to think, it was important for us to think strategically and back somebody that will say, okay, we are going to give you our vote, you're going to give us something in return when you get there, if you get there.
Okay, so first it was about the number of the women who were present.
Yes.
Then secondly, about the force with which the person can use against other candidates.
Other candidates.
Okay.
So because there's no point backing a horse that you know ab initio has lost the race. And I have told Sarah several times, I said, it's not many women that will have the courage to come and stand for that election knowing that they will not even make it. I don't know how many other women can do it. So for me, you're our heroine. You're our hero, our heroine in this cause. And as long as you keep coming out, so long will you continue to make a statement that women want to be president of this country. It's probably not going to be you. It may not be anybody that's, will be in the 2nd or 3rd generation after you. But the history is recording it, and the time will come when they will say, give it to the women.
Okay, let's get to
when they will start getting used to the fact that we want to be
When you didn't eventually
president.
emerge as governor of Anambra State, you said something earlier that it was a big blow.
I said it was a big blow because at that level, where I personally made sure that we had one woman out of 3 to be a candidate, to be a delegate. I thought that it was time for me to reap where I had sown. And I had calculated that out of the delegates that we had less than 900 delegates in the state. That if I could, gather like 360 delegates just for me alone, and of course, we were like 10, 15 aspirants. 13 cleared aspirants. 13 aspirants, and only me got 300 and something that I had won.
But do you think, because in 2011 somehow you were accused of some financial misappropriation, yes, about the monies that were supposed to go to the PDP women in Anambra State and the UNDP fund too, where some women came out to raise their voices? Could it be as a result of that?
I'm happy I have an opportunity to clear myself. Now, there was no money. No money. When I say no money given to PDP Anambra women. PDP does not give money to women in the states. PDP gives, when a candidate emerges, the party gives the women, gives the candidates money to run. Now we are talking of the presidential election. It was the presidential election at that time. So, was there any Anambra woman who was a presidential candidate? No. In Anambra State, there is this man, Chris Uba, who believes that he owns the party, he owns, and nobody should ask him what he does. So we had our primaries for those elections, and the party sent a team from Abuja to conduct the Senator Waku committee. And the Senator Waku committee conducted the primary. So we had our list of National Assembly members and House of Assembly members in the state. Chris Uba and his people purportedly held a parallel primary. So they have their own list. So they had their own list. And I had the list of the approved candidates for the PDP. So that was where the fight was. So when it was time to assist them, I collected, being the minister and the leader of the party at that time, I collected the money for the aspirants. And I gave all the aspirants what the party wanted to give to them. If I knew you were going to ask me this question, I would have brought the documentary evidence, and they all signed.
What about the UNDP fund?
If you had told me, I would have brought it. Now, there is no money from UNDP, and UNDP has said it at several fora, that they do not give money to individuals. UNDP does not give money to anybody, and this is, you can go and ask. It's a United States fund. They do not give it. They have programs. If they have programs, they fund their programs.
From time immemorial, women have birthed life, shaped character, and by extension, influenced the society. Moremi of Ife, Emoten of Benin, Queen Aminat of Zaria, all women of influence and power.
Whether it's before election, after election.
How ironical. Women being so powerful, yet have few grounds in decision making.
They see you as weak, and I see you as a wife to a man.
We are talking women in politics.
A woman will be bold enough to stand up and say, I want to become president of Nigeria.
Only on CORETV News.
some are of the school of thought that some women in this present dispensation have not really shown integrity and sense of responsibility in leadership as we expect from women who are mothers. What's your reaction to this whole thing?
I think it's a very general statement, and it will be very unfair to a lot of women, including myself, who have worked tirelessly and sacrificed so much, you know, for this country, and have shown very high level of integrity and incorruptibility. So, you know, it's not, if there is a particular woman that,
take for instance,
you know, we can comment on that.
There was a woman who was handling our aviation sector.
Yes.
We know what happened when it was
yes,
set to come and give account.
I will cut you in there.
What about the petroleum resources?
I will cut you in there. It is because they are women that, you know, everybody is shouting. And the woman said it very clearly. You know, she's not the one that's ordered for, they said she ordered for cars. She's not in the procurement. She's not the one that ordered the cars. And the cars, when they come, they belong to the agency or to the organization. They don't belong to her. She did not order any personal car.
But she heads that sector, so she should be in the know.
Yes.
She shouldn't she?
There is nothing in that sector that says you cannot order cars. Yes.
At the expense of the level of poverty in Nigeria?
That is not her business. That is not her fault. The minister does not just approve anything. He doesn't have the power. There is a committee in the ministry, whichever, a procurement department, there will be a tenders committee, there will be all that the minister is not even a member.
Dezani Alison Madueke has been summoned before the House severally concerning a particular amount for chartered jets, and she has fought seriously not to appear, not to answer to the committee. What about that? I think if everything were transparent, then there should be nothing to fear. If
everything is not transparent, they will not have seen that they chartered flights. And in that industry, let us be honest, let us be fair to ourselves. If you go to you know, let me digress a bit. If you go to our airports now, you see the whole place littered with private jets. Nobody is asking in your level of poverty in this country. You are not asking. But once somebody is now appointed to serve as a public servant, then that person must be bashed and trashed to death. I think it's very unfair. We should start appreciating the people. It's not easy to serve this country. We should start appreciating the people who serve us. They make a lot of sacrifices that no Nigerian, hardly few Nigerians, if they know what it takes, when you ask them to take that position, they will say, no, hold it on.
But are you sure many Nigerians would agree with you?
Yes,
because it looks like you get into politics and your life changes for better.
No, you forget about the flamboyance. Forget about the clear lights. Forget about the, you know, the publicity. If you know the pain, if you know the cost to you as a person, to your family, to your everything, forget about, you know, all those flamboyant, I call it, yes, the flamboyance and the outside perquisites that people see.
But are you sure many people will not give anything to go through
people,
that pain and have the flamboyance,
there are some people
as you described it?
There are some people who will give their soul to have, haven't you seen it? To give their soul to have that flamboyance. They will say, we'd rather have it and die. But let us have it. Of course, there are many people that will do it. So what I'm saying about, you know, the job of the petroleum minister, she's all over the place. Going from here to Lagos, maybe 2 times, Port Harcourt, Vienna, Austria, everywhere that she has to do the job that she has to do. And you expect her to be efficient, and you expect her to do it by standing in the queue and waiting for cancelled flights. So if she now hires a flight to go back, rush in and rush out, and come back and do the work at home and go to fake meeting and do this, and people are complaining. They should go, that is why they have what they call oversight function. They should go and check. If there's something wrong, they will tell us. It's not her that should come and start telling them whether it is wrong or right, whether she has done or she has not done. They have everything. They have all the.
So you feel it is right not to answer the call of the committee? I'm
not saying that it is not right not to answer. It is wrong not to answer a call from the National Assembly because they have the authority and the power to summon you. But if they summon you frivolously, you have every right also not to waste your time and their time.
Okay, let's get to national issues because you were delegates at the national conference. What are the lessons you would say you've learned from the national conference?
Oh, I learned a lot of lessons. Would I say I learned a lot of lessons? No, not that I learned a lot of lessons. I was happy to discover that Nigeria is not as bad as we think it is. I was happy to find out that Nigeria is not as disunited as we think. I was happy to find out that nobody in Nigeria wants Nigeria to split. We discovered, what I discovered in the National Assembly was that, I mean in the National Conference, was that all of us, everybody, saw that the only problem Nigeria has is this monster, this demon, this Frankenstein, this satanic creature that is breathing fire. And we just label it corruption. But that entity, I say it's an entity, is frightening.
But our president said stealing is not corruption. Our president, Goodluck Jonathan, actually said stealing is not corruption.
I didn't hear him say that. When did he say that?
In his broadcast media chat.
He said that stealing is not corruption.
It's not corruption, yes.
Okay. If our president says stealing is not corruption, then he knows what he's saying. He's the president. Corruption, to me, I'm not referring to what the president said. He's the president. He knows what he's saying. If he says stealing is not corruption, you must find out why he said it, because he knows what he's saying. That we can give to him as the president. For me also, I may agree with him that stealing is not corruption.
How?
Yes, you can steal my, I can drop something here, you pick it up and steal. Maybe you are a kleptomaniac. It's not corruption. Corruption is deeper, more insidious, more devastating than stealing.
So you feel we can steal public funds and yet not be corrupt?
We didn't talk about, you said stealing is not corruption.
Stealing can be at any level.
Stealing, that's what I'm saying. Yes. Stealing can be at any level. So that's what I'm saying. Don't let us entangle ourselves and now misunderstand each other, or our viewers will misunderstand us. We're talking about corruption, and I'm saying that for me also, stealing is not what I'm calling corruption. Stealing is not what I'm calling corruption. So, and you cannot say that stealing public funds is the kind of stealing we are talking when we talk about stealing. That's not stealing. That's not stealing. That's more than stealing. That's corruption, and it is more than corruption.
You can now watch CORETV News live from anywhere in the world on our website www.coretvnews.com. Click on Live TV on our website and watch us live.
And welcome to CORETV Primetime Days.
To follow us on Twitter, click on Twitter icon on our website. On Facebook, click on the Facebook and YouTube to see all our previous news production. You can also watch us live on YouTube. Click CORETV, leave a space, then News. CORETV News, a 24-hour news station.
The reason most women are discouraged from participating in politics is because there is a battle between politics and the home. Some actually say for women, you either choose between your home, your marriage, and politics. Is there a possibility of balancing the two, or there is no hope for the two being balanced?
I mean, you can balance the two. A lot of women have their homes and they're in politics. But there's something that has given it that look, or that perception, in the sense that, like I said before, it was a man's turf, and a lot of husbands would not, and a lot of fathers would not encourage their daughters or their wife or husbands, their wives, to go into politics, active partisan politics, full-time politics. They will not encourage them because, you know, they don't know where they are, where they are going, who they are with, and all the travels and all the late night meetings and everything. But it is changing now, and it is changing very fast.
Okay, finally, give us your words for the younger women who are just starting politics or who are making up their minds who want to be in politics.
I'm encouraging all the young women to be in politics, really. And whenever I hear youth, you find that it's only men that are youths. The young ladies are in a peculiar situation, but I've asked them to find their niche, find where they belong. You know, a young girl of, say, 18, 20, once she's married, she looks at herself as a woman. And then, but when she comes to the women's side, she finds that she's a baby. It's really not a woman. She's a youth. So they should go and stay with the youth. Because even the young men who are in their 30s and early 40s, they are all married, but they are all in the youth organizations and things. So our young ladies who are in that age bracket should also go and now slug it out with them, because that is where it starts. If you leave the men, the male youths to be playing politics, by the time you want to do catch-up, when in your 50s, you can't catch up. And they have become the gatekeepers. They have become the masters. They have become the people who call the shots. And you have not been there. So you are always a late comer. So those youth organizations are, you know, are real fertile ground for learning, you know, getting the grips on politics and learning all what it takes to be a politician. So I would encourage them, join all these youth organizations, anywhere you see youth group. If you are between 18 and 35, you are a youth. In fact, 40.
Married or not.
Married or not, with 10 children or not, irrespective, you are a youth. Join the youth groups. Then if you're an older woman, you know, they have women groups, join them. And I always say that women are lucky. We have to, we can be here, we can be there. So even then, they can be in the youth and they can be in the women. Don't you see? The older women are mentoring them. The younger men, they are sharing and, you know, experiences with them, and they are up to date with what is happening. So they are gaining from both sides. So I would encourage young girls to be interested in politics, because politics for me is life. It's about life. It's life and death. It's about everything. So so it's not only aspiring to become a minister or a GG or get a political appointment. No. Knowing yourself, knowing your worth, knowing what you can contribute, and you can contribute at every level. It's all politics. There is nowhere there is no politics. In church, you play politics. At home, you play politics. In the bank, in the boardrooms, you play politics. So you must, you know, acquire the art, the skill to do that anywhere you find yourself.
Yeah. Thank you very much for your time with us on Women in Politics. It's been a wonderful time.
Thank you.
It's been a wonderful time on Women in Politics today. We've been talking to Josephine Anenih, and you cannot talk about politics talking about the women in Nigeria and not mention this name, because she is a PDP stalwart, and on the national level she's recognized too. And it's a pleasure to bring her to you on the program Women in Politics today. Next edition promises to be more exciting. It can only get better, and I'm looking forward to seeing you then. Thank you so much for watching. I am Edwin Lomo Adekunle.